Welcome back to another edition of the Album Society. It's your boy DJ Trini Shotta alongside DJ Nephew. Let's jump into the intro and let's go. Welcome back to another edition of the Album Society. It's your boy DJ Trini Shotta alongside DJ Nephew. What's good, Nephew?
Not a whole lot, man. Just, went to go see Ice Cube a week ago. I guess, damn near a week ago, dude. That old man still got it. I was wore out, and I don't know how he did it. Like I was, I was just in the crowd, and I was like, I'm ready for bed. How's this dude doing it? Because he, no openers, doors opened at 8. He hit the stage around 9:45.
Damn.
Right? And then he put a 2.5-hour show on.
From the start to finish, or
Yep.
just select hits?
It was from start to finish how he did it. He went through all the eras. So it's he started in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and then all of his newer stuff. But then he brought it back, obviously, at the end for Today Was a Good Day was the final song. But yeah,
Nice.
it was dope.
I think your mic dropped a little bit. I don't know if
Yeah.
you got adjust your position.
Work. All right. Probably went indirect. There we go.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds a little bit crispier now. Yeah, that's dope, man. Like, I think Ice Cube is this month in Tampa or next month. But yeah, I've been seeing the ads for it. I mean, that's one of those shows where no openers, but it's gonna be a straight fire.
Right.
What was the best set?
Obviously, I got to give it to the 90s, because he did the NWA stuff there, the No Vaseline, all the Lethal Injection stuff. So, yeah, the 90s segment was lit.
Nice. Yeah, I think 2000s Ice Cube. I mean, it's a little bit more party
There's-
Ice Cube, I would
yeah,
say.
that was the West
Versus the
Coast.
90s Ice Cube was, hit him up hard, hit him with the
Yeah.
heat.
Yeah, and then he brought Dub C out, and then
Nice.
the Lynch Mob, so he did it all. So it was dope.
Nice. No Mac 10. One can only wish.
Right?
One
Dude,
can
I think
only
if Mac 10 was there, it would have been game over. Scarface was there, though.
Nice.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're, I guess, depending on the region, they're probably going to bring out different artists.
Possibly that he worked with, yeah.
I wonder, do you know if the final show's in Cali?
I don't know where that tour ends. I know
Because
Salt Lake
that
was
would
like
be dope to see.
Salt Lake was like stop 2 or 3.
So it just started.
Yeah.
Because a lot of artists when they do their final show, or when they do their, say for instance they're from Cali, when they do their Cali shows, or if he does a LA show, generally they would be a little bit better because you might bring out different artists
Yeah.
that rocked with you at the time, especially because being from the hometown. I
Right.
know, like for instance, like when Drake does his Toronto shows, it's insane. The Weeknd's final tour date on his last tour was in Toronto, and that was completely insane. So a lot of the artists there, when they have certain areas or certain regions, right? If you're in Florida, you might bring out a Florida artist. Maybe Miami, you bring out Uncle Luke. You never know, but it would be interesting. It would be interesting to see if that changes by different locations.
I bet it does. Maybe. It also depends on their tour schedule too, right? So it just depends on if they're touring and stuff like that. But
Yeah, like if he's in NY, is he going to bring out any old school New York artists? I mean, it'd be interesting to see.
right. Yep.
Be very interesting. But
Exactly.
today's episode, we're talking about Regulate the G-Funk Era, the first album from Warren G.
Yes. So let me ask you, did you have a car with, 212s, 215s in the back of that sucker back in the early 90s, mid 90s?
I didn't get a car till late 90s. I would
Okay.
say 99, 2000.
Yeah.
But it was a 1989 Honda Accord with the flip up lights.
Nice.
The first thing I did was I went and I got some Pioneer 6x9s. I changed the tweeters in the front, put in one of those Pioneer decks with the dolphins.
Yeah.
Was it Pioneer? Yeah. The one of those decks. What else did I do? And I had a sub. I think I had 112. I
Got it.
think it was like a PPI 112. And I was running. It wasn't realistic. It wasn't it was a Radio Shack amp, I think, but it wasn't realistic. I can't remember the brand, but I know it was a Radio Shack amp because my boy that I got it from, he was a manager at Radio Shack. So
Right.
I got the box from him for like $100 because he
Right.
just wanted to get rid of it.
Yeah.
But I remember we had 112. I had the Pioneer 6x9s. I forget what the tweeters were in the front. Pioneer deck. But yeah, we definitely. I was definitely out there. I would say more later '90s. So I was bumping more Jay-Z at the time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the classics still play. I mean, technically they're classics, but they're only like 5 years old,
Right.
5, 10 years old at that point in time.
Yeah, the reason why I asked because when I played this album, it brought back so many memories of my of two of my uncles. One he passed away back in 2019. He had a 1969 Chevelle with two
Nice.
12s in it, and I was 15, 16, right around there. So not quite have a car, but he did. You know, he was in high school, but he put this album in, dude, and we drove around the entire neighborhood for like an hour just knocking. I am talking like you heard us 3 blocks away bumping. And so to my other uncle, he had a uh, Chevy S10, and then he had his, and you just hear my uncle's coming from blocks away, and that was the
Nice.
thing of just knocking like. Your subs are hitting so hard it's setting off car alarms, the Viper car alarms, because they were the ones that were sensitive to when people got close. So it was this
I
this album was
trust me.
definitely one of those tracks that you could just literally bump for an hour.
I remember in that era, like you would hear one of my cousins, you would hear him
Yeah,
from 2 blocks over because you know who's pulling up at your house,
right.
depending on how heavy that bass shaked.
Yeah,
And then in Toronto, all of our houses have basements, so my room was in the basement. So you can hear
yes,
if you're hearing that bass from the basement, you know who it is, who's at
right.
your door. But I do remember when this album came out and when Regulate came out and this DJ came out. I remember Family Friend, we went a few places that summer, and
Hmm.
every time we would go in the car, you would hear Regulate and you'd hear this DJ. And
Yes,
so your those core memories you have of listening to it in the car, I have the same thing. It wasn't my own car, but at the same time, it was being in that family friend's car and then just hearing it. And then
yes,
this song was on replay. I mean, we'll go right off the bat. Regulate was the first song off the album,
yes.
but it was also came out, I think the album came out June 7th, 1994. I believe it was April 1994 is when Above the Rim soundtrack came out, which is still
Hmm.
one of the greatest hip hop album soundtracks of all time, movie
Yes.
soundtracks. Regulate was one of the first singles from that album.
It definitely was. And what a lot of people don't realize, so I'm going to just tell a little bit of a backstory before we get too deep. this, so Warren G, he's, family with Dr. Dre. He's in the tie with Dr. Dre. They're what
Is he
stepbrothers.
a brother,
Stepbrother.
stepbrother,
He's a stepbrother.
stepbrother, right?
So when Dr. Dre was, doing his thing, Warren G was running around going to all the record shops, and a lot of people don't realize he was getting the records, handing them off to Dre, getting the samples for all their albums and things like that. And then when it came to come to go on tour, everybody went on tour except for Warren G. They left him out because he wasn't on the albums. He, didn't do much other than find all the beats for some of these guys' albums. They kind of left him high in the dust that he's like, you know what? Their family, I can't really say fuck off. Just the only thing I can say is, just good luck. And it's back to my own grind. And so he went out and did his own grind, linked up
And
with,
this is during the NWA era.
yes, it
We
was
should
during,
say,
yes,
to
during all of
paraphrase,
that.
we should say this is NWA era. And technically,
Yes.
I guess at the time he's the little kid brother,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. So, yep. And then so he was like, man, I'm on my own. I got to go back to my mom's house, sleep on the floor. But then he finally met the producer of Above the Rim, and he's like, yo, I got some songs. Regulate wasn't even in the arsenal at that time when he presented himself to the producer of this movie. And then so they produced the movie. He did Regulators. This album actually is what saved. Is it Def Jams? Remember if it was it Def? No.
Above the Rim was Death Row and Interscope.
Yep. And
So
then
Suge produced
yes,
the album. The soundtrack was produced by Suge. and Dre, which
Yes.
is epic at the time because Above the Rim is a New York basketball movie, and we're having early Death Row and Dre producing one of the hottest singles. I mean, you had SWV, you had H Town,
Yes.
the Dog Pound. Who else is on there? Um, there's Regulate. I believe there's Snoop and
Yeah.
Lady Rage. There's, I believe, Naughty by Nature on this album? No. But you know what's funny? There is no Tupac song on this album.
Which, that is odd.
I'm looking at the track listing, and it's Above the Rim soundtrack. Naughty by Nature's on there. Tretch. Loyal to the Game by Tupac and Tretch. Actually, Loyal to the Game, there is that song on there. But yeah, there isn't a lot of
Yeah.
East Coast rappers
Right.
compared to the amount of West Coast rappers. But mind you, it is produced by Snoop and not Snoop, but Suge and Dr. Dre.
Yes. But then this album dropped, and this album single-handedly, it did save Def Jam. Def Jam was in bankruptcy. They were in trouble. So
I did
Warren
not know
G
that.
came out with this album and literally saved Def Jam Records.
So if you're looking at this, the CD album,
Yes.
right? So this is why the CD version, 18 tracks, the cassette release had Pain by Tupac and Stretch, um, My Money Right by Lord G, and Loyal to the Game with Tupac, Tretch, and the Riddler. So that's where, depending on what you got, a lot of us, I think at that age, we'd have probably got the cassette because the cassette was only like $10.
Yeah.
Or you dubbed the cassette off of a friend.
Yep. That's 99% where you bought it off the dude off Canal Street.
Yeah.
It's,
Hey, well, every time I
yep.
went to New York to visit my cousins, we would go to the flea market. It was across the
Yeah.
street, Aqueduct Flea Market, or we'd go to Jamaica Avenue, and you would have the tape guys on the corner.
Mm-hmm.
I would just get my tapes, and I'm good.
Yep,
And what I would
exactly.
do is then when I went back to school, I would dub them and try to sell them for a profit,
Exactly. Why not?
and go get a little, make a photocopy of the cassette jacket, cut it, chop it. I should do that with mixtapes. So you'd get a lot of Hot 97, or you'd get a lot of like, I think I had one that was like DMX versus Ja Rule or something, like some of these random mixtapes, or like the Cannabis versus LL Cool J mixtapes. And you get them because they weren't, unless you go to like certain mixtape stores in the city, you would get it. Or if you brought them back or somebody brought them for you, same thing, dub them, sell them, $5, whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
the cassette was $1, so you're making like $4. It's lunch money.
Right. Yeah. So then he just kicks off this album. Why not kick off the album with your single that's doing it? He would regulate. He sampled Young Guns for the intro. That movie's badass in general, and then being able to sample it and then put that on the top of your track,
Yep.
that's dope.
And if you didn't know, and I was gonna say that was one of the things, that whole regulators mount up,
Yeah.
that was from Young Guns, and that was one of my favorite movies growing up.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So yeah, and this is kind of the sound of G Funk right here. This is what really kind of opened it up, and the history of G Funk is obviously that whole he listened to what his parents were listening to and just sampled it and ran with it, right? So
Hmm.
that's where it came from. And then he opens the second track, Do You See?
And what we can't forget when we talk about regulate, the whole, I would say, the whole song is encapsulated by the great, rest in
True.
peace,
Yep.
Nate Dogg.
Yes. True.
Because without Nate on that, it might be a little bit of a different song. But with
I agree.
Nate, Nate Dogg was part of that G Funk style, G Funk flow. And just hearing him throughout that, and just the cadence between the way they did it, where they're talking as friends, but it's the cadence between Warren G and Nate Dogg, back and forth, back and forth. That just what it's what created that aura for that song.
It really did, and Nate Dogg and the 213 click was a whole different. Oh man, what Nate said it best, or was it? Was it who said it? But it said it ain't a hit until Nate's on it. Like it's it's true. He was awesome. He helped people's song elevate to the next level. He never did great. I watched a little bit of a clip. He never really did great on the solo side. He
I think
realized,
he was just a hit maker. Like he
yep,
was perfect.
yep. So he just did
His
the
biggest tracks were where he was featured on or collaborated on. I
exactly,
would
yep,
say
yep.
the
So
second song, like you said, is "Do You See," which is the third single released. It was released October 29th, but the second song on the album.
yes, honestly, this is one of my favorite songs on the album. I like Regulate, but I feel like this Do You See is a little bit better track altogether.
It has a sample for "Juicy Fruit," which is also the same sample that Biggie used. I believe the main beat was from a junior background song called "Mama Used to Say," but I love it, and I can see why this was the third single.
Yeah. Yep, it's literally my favorite track on the album. And then we go into the gangster sermon. Today we're going to talk about bitches and hoes.
Yeah, and this
It's
is
so
we
classic.
talked about it
Yeah.
with the Ice Cube album with the skits,
Yes.
and this kind of was continuation. Even we talked about it with the Big Pun album with the skits, and I
Yeah.
think we don't hear skits like
No,
this
we
anymore,
don't.
right? So
It's great. This one's great. It's not as it's I should we'll get into another one, but I think this was the best skit on the album because
mm,
it's like it's kind of
it's
like the
funny.
church sermon type, talk, but yeah, but not church things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then when we got into Recognize featuring Twins, Twins are from
Hmm.
the LBC as well. G Funk LBC vibe. This one I would say was like a 6 or a 7 to me.
I don't know. I think it's a banger. I asterisked it. I'm a little bit more up on there. I think it's just because it has I like it. I felt like the whole front half of the album was solid, extremely
Yeah,
solid.
I mean, it scatters though because then we have Super Solstice
Hmm.
featuring Josh Skills, which is more of like a dance hall 90s dance hall vibe. And then when we look at that era with the West Coast artists, we had Lady of Rage, and she had a dance hall track. No, not Lady of Rage. It was Patra. Was Tupac was in the Patra video, but man, I can't think of it. But there was a 90s West Coast artist, female artist. Honestly, I think it is Lady Rage, but she had a dancehall song as well. So it was that 90s dancehall style. It wasn't authentic dancehall, but it had a vibe. And I think it's what went in the 90s, in the early 90s with the hip hop dancehall collaboration
Yeah.
crossover, early Shabba Ranks days, early Super Cat days, where they were some of the first artists, Mad Cobra, first artists to start doing remixes with hip hop artists. So it was good to
Yeah.
hear. I totally forgot about this song. Then we
This
got
yeah,
into
that song will shut your amps down, dude. That song knocks.
yes,
It
agreed.
yeah, if your amp can make it to that point of this album, you're fine. But it might shut down at this point.
It depends if you're running with the back seats down. Then you got some
Yeah.
air coming through.
Yeah.
If you got the back seats up and you got bad ventilation in that
Yeah.
trunk, your amp's gonna burn out.
Yeah.
Or if you're only running one amp and too much
Right.
power. Then we go into the '94 whole draft,
Yeah.
another skit, classic.
Yeah.
Then we jump into So Many Ways.
Yes.
What's your vibe on So Many Ways?
Dude, this is one of those songs, kind of with alongside Outkast. They have some of those ones that are made me want. They're kind of like, I want to be a DJ. This is dope.
Hmm.
It's the inspirational track, like, man, this is pretty dope. I want to dip my toes in that game. But yeah, I really like this song as well.
Next is my favorite song from this album, which is This DJ, which I didn't know until he was on Drink Champs. The chorus was actually written by Snoop.
Oh, really? I did
Yeah.
not know
So
that.
Snoop has a credit. I mean, when you're looking at it, if you're looking at the album credits, you're seeing C. Brodus. I mean, now we know who C. Brodus is. Back
Yeah.
then, you're not thinking C. Brodus is Snoop. But yeah, the chorus, when he was on Drink Champs a couple years ago, he mentioned that Snoop actually wrote the chorus for it. The song was nominated for Best Solo Performance at the 37 Grammy Awards, which is surprising. This song did actually a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
I think it went more mainstream than Regulate. It was number 2 on the Billboard tracks. When this album actually dropped as well, it was number 2 on the Billboard track. So this
Okay.
album went straight. Like,
Yeah.
I think because of the anticipation after Regulate came out on Above the Rim, and then when he
Yeah.
finally dropped his own album, it did 167,000 copies the first week, which is amazing in those days. And for someone that, if you weren't from the West Coast, you're vibing. Like, this is just a
Yeah.
vibe.
Yeah. I heard. I was actually on my lunch break today, and this was on Rock the Bill radio.
Nice.
Yeah. I was like, all right, here we go. Yeah.
This is always in my sets. Excuse me. This is always in my sets. Like, this is, I think, one of the few songs that I'll
Always in
forever
rotation.
always play.
Yeah.
I love Regulate, but this
Yeah.
DJ, and it goes back to what we were talking about, cars.
Yeah.
Pioneer speakers bumping the street of sound. This
Yeah.
DJ be so
Yeah.
everyone. We all had Pioneer speakers, right?
Yeah.
We all
Yeah.
that was like the gold standard.
It
If
was.
once you got your car in the '90s, you got to get some Pioneer 6x9s, some
Yeah.
subs. Then we went to the Pimp My Ride era, which
Yeah.
we won't talk about. But
No.
yeah, this the track after that, This Is the Shack, is actually one of my other favorite tracks. I would say this is probably my third favorite track on the album. I love Dove Shack. I love the vibe. This is core straight summer cookout
It
G
really,
Funk Cali vibe.
it
Like,
really is.
fresh pair of Chucks, fresh khakis, white tee, Dodgers hat. Like, this is just straight. This is
It-
just the straight,
It's the
like,
fundamentals of G Funk.
if you have a moment in a movie, I would say this song suits the barbecue where Doughboy comes home in Boys in the Hood.
It's true.
I know though
Spot
it's
on.
a few years before
Yeah.
the movie is a few years before
Yeah.
this, but this is what I think of like when you hear this, or even the Dove Shack, their song Dove Shack, or Summertime in the LBC. Sorry, same thing. Actually, Summertime in the LBC and This Is the Shack. I want to go back and listen to it, but I have a feeling it's the beat or the BPM is almost identical.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
But this is the only track on the entire album I noted it doesn't have that full G Funk to it. It has more of the Unk's backyard barbecue party vibe. And I
yeah,
think that's exactly what you're pointing to. It's not the G Funk, but it has that Unk's out there on the grill. He has control of the radio, but you're all vibing.
hmm
That's where this wrong, and it's a great track.
well, when you think of like the G Funk is essentially the the what's the word? G Funk itself is heavily influenced by P Funk,
Yes.
Parliament, George Clinton, the Funkadelic. So this was more of that, right? This was more of that, or it was more of that, like that vibe. If you remember, do you remember Friday the movie? There was two soundtracks. There was the old school Friday soundtrack, and then there was the regular school sound. The old school Friday soundtrack was more of this vibe,
Yes.
where it
For
was
sure.
more 70s,
Yep.
80s P Funk, which then translates into the 90s with the younger guys turning that into like the G Funk,
The
the
G-Funk,
LBC vibe.
Yep.
Then we got What's Next featuring Lil Malik. I don't know where Lil Malik is now. He's part of the Illegal or the rap group, but this is cool. It was a good
Yeah.
vibe.
It was a nice vibe. Yeah, this is where I felt like it slowed down just a little bit, but um, it had a nice vibe. I don't feel like it had more of the Long Beach experience. He was more talking about Long Beach, but it had a nice flow to it. I like the
Mhm.
flow of this. Not it really didn't put my head in my lap, but it had a really nice flow.
Yeah. Then what else we got? Then second last track, And You Don't Stop. The beat for this was solid. A lot of it too, if you look at the album and you look at the credit notes, this was straight all Warren G,
Yeah.
right? A lot of this album, majority of all the songs, actually all the songs are written or co-written with Warren G. This one was solely straight Warren G. You can tell it was him all over the track, the production, everything. Super clean, super perfect. And then we went into the last track, which is Running with No Brakes featuring Josh Gales, Bo Rock, G Child, and the Twins. So a
Yeah.
little bit of everyone on the track. I don't know if everyone is. Well, I know the Twins were from LBC.
G Child is Warren G's alter ego.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like Humpty.
I get it. See,
Yeah.
see things you didn't know. Illegal, the group, they're from Philly and Carolina, but I guess they were engrossed in the Cali LBC vibe with Warren G. I don't know much about Borak, but the track was good. Good
Yeah.
closing track. Not a long album. I would say a lot of these albums too was 37 minutes roughly, 40
Yeah, it
minutes.
wasn't that long at all. Something you can hammer out, driving on a commute, be able to listen
Yeah,
to the whole
driving to
album.
work, whatever,
Yep.
quick workout.
Yeah.
Then in 2007, there was a special bonus CD where there was regular remix, more of a drum and bass, dubstep, a lot of remixes there, EDM remixes. I couldn't care much about it. It wasn't a big deal for me.
Right. But what's crazy is um he's still doing it on his own. He's still touring. Yeah, he'll jump on tracks, he'll jump on the tour with people every once in a while, but he's mostly on himself. Like, well, the biggest controversy that came out around was 2 years, 3 years ago, the Super Bowl. You know,
Where he,
where
but
they
he
where
even said,
yeah,
like, everyone said he got left out, but he was just happy to be there. From
yeah,
what I remember him saying, he was
yeah,
just happy to be there. I mean, it would have been hella cool to see him out there.
yeah. So yeah, they invited him. But they didn't invite him to perform. But honestly, I don't feel like he would have. If you would have let Warren G perform, there would have been so many other people that would have got their feelings hurt. Honestly, like, how come Warren G got to perform? How come then you're dipping a little bit deeper into other West Coast rappers? How come you don't let me perform? You have to draw the line in the stand somewhere, and I feel like they did a really good job because it went from Dre to 50 to M to 50. They did it all in pretty much their full production on how they've done it with their
They went
record
in
labels.
succession
Yes, yes,
of kind of how it went, right?
yeah,
Especially if it wasn't for Dre, there'd be no M. If there
right,
was no M, there would be no 50,
yeah,
right? So it all flows. They
mm-hmm,
all flow kind of together.
yeah.
The whole situation, the whole vibe. Speaking of Super Bowl, not to change the subject,
Oh,
but yesterday they announced
yeah.
who's going to be the halftime performer for Super Bowl, and I am so excited. A lot of tears are going to be hurt, and I'm seeing it online today. I'm not saying who or what because I'm staying politically correct. But it's Bad Bunny, the boy Benito, almost made $1 billion for the country of Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
It's gonna be good. I
right.
know it's gonna be good. I
Honestly,
mean,
like, I just feel like it's time to get rid of the Super Bowl. There's halftime show. There's just too much drama behind it. Last year, people were mad because Wheezy didn't perform. Now they're upset
I
because
kind
it's
of
a
felt it
Latin
though.
performer,
Like,
but he's a international star. It's not a local United States, but he's
well, two
international.
things, but two things. Like last year, I would say I felt bad because yes, Wheezy didn't perform. Now you did see it if you watched it. I think it was at the beginning when they had the marching bands come out from the HBCUs. Master P brought them out, which was cool.
Yes, yeah,
Wheezy situation, I have no idea. I would have loved to seen Wheezy, but
yeah.
Kendrick did his thing.
He did his thing
He
right in
did
the
his
hype of
thing.
everything.
And you cannot deny that Bad Bunny, and there's going to be, the thing is, right? When you look at it back in the day, when you had the first Super Bowl performance was Michael Jackson, the
Yes.
90s,
Yep.
right? Everyone loved Michael, but there was probably still people that didn't like Michael. Then we had like the Whitneys. I think we had like Aerosmith, things like that. But then you have to kind of get to the point where shit changes.
Yeah.
Generations change, right? So we're looking at the Dre Super Bowl. That was like our age group, and our age group are the ones that are in the 40s going into the 50s, because you got to remember, right? As much as we're in our 30s and 40s and we were kids,
Mm-hmm.
right? The 50 and 60-year-olds, they were in the club
Yeah.
in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
They were in the club, like they were 20. So they were, and especially if you listen to hip hop in the 90s, like you're jamming,
Yeah.
right? Because if I think about it right now, I was in the club early 2000, late 90s, early 2000s. So who's out? Jay-Z. So in 20 years, if I'm seeing Jay-Z at the Super Bowl when I'm 60, hell yeah. Like Jay-Z was the man. So you kind of got to understand that point of view. And I think for someone like Bad Bunny, like Shakira and J-Lo was a big deal.
Yeah.
Shakira is globally huge. J-Lo is
Yeah.
globally huge. But Bad Bunny is probably the biggest artist in the world. Like hands down. Like I watched his last performance, it was on Amazon Prime, from his the Puerto Rico show, and the production level was insane. And this was just in Puerto Rico. So this wasn't Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So you can only imagine how big that Super Bowl performance is going to be, the quality it's going to be. I would love to see who, if there's any surprise artist that's going to pop out and show up. But also, I'm going to sit there and enjoy are the people that are hurting their feelings. And
Yeah.
also, the if there's going to be a message. Kendrick kind of had a subliminal message. Bad Bunny is not one to, hold his words. He'll tell you as it is. So, hey, we'll see, man.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well,
I'm excited.
I'm
I'm
looking
excited.
back. I'm looking back on the so everything was kind of band oriented, and the first one that really set it off. Let's see here. It was in the '80s, and you were right. It was Michael Jackson. That's when they went to the full blown production of
Do you know why
stars.
they started the Super Bowl halftime show? I don't know if you know this, but I remember this. During the Super Bowl, In Living Color used to do a show in that time frame before the Super Bowl halftime show started.
Okay.
And they got so, because the Super Bowl wasn't on Fox then. Because Fox didn't even have football then. I think it was only later 90s Fox got. And this is probably what, 91, 92, 93, around there? When was the first?
93 was the very first Michael
So
Jackson.
this would have been 91, 92 Super Bowl halftime shows.
Yeah.
They did an In Living Color show. And there were so many people that changed the channel to watch the In Living Color Super Bowl halftime episode that they just ran it when they knew that halftime break of the Super Bowl. And back then, they would have probably just been doing commentary. No one would have been doing anything. Or you might
Yeah.
have had some like local kids, with their marching band on the field that you'd never see on TV. And because there were so many ratings of people switching and watching that, the NFL is like, okay, we have to come correct. And who do they come with? The biggest artist in the world at the time.
Right. It's true. I'm I really don't care who they perform. I think everybody needs that platform to be able to perform. But I just don't like the controversy that it brings up. How do I say
It's a
this?
hard
How do
one.
I say this politically correct? Does 50% of America listen to Bad Bunny?
I would say more.
You think?
I really think more, because you have to think, right? Almost everyone that there, because I would say more for the fact is there are people that aren't Latin Americans. Now it's not from Latin America, but Hispanic Americans that listen to Bad Bunny. There were so many of them that were flying into Puerto Rico from the States into to go see the concert because it was so epic. So I think when you think about it, there's probably more than 50% of the population that listen to Bad Bunny. But also, I think what people fail to remember is that hip hop music, urban music, R&B, that's pop music now. Back in the 90s and early 2000 or late 90s, that was considered gangster rap. No one wanted to hear it.
Yeah.
It didn't have the legs it has. Yes, there's Jay-Z running the show, and Apple Music, but you have to remember that if you watch TV now, commercials sample 90s R&B and hip hop songs.
Mm-hmm. I agree
Right?
100%.
We're that era where, in the 80s and 90s, when you go into a grocery store, the music might have been like Hall and Oates or like, Lionel Richie,
Yeah.
and like the oldies station.
Yeah.
Our age group is the oldies station now. And
Yes.
that is hip hop and R&B. It's just coincidentally a lot of our artists from our generation age pretty good, and they're still singing, or they've influenced other artists to perform. So whether you went with a Bad Bunny or you went with new artists like Glorilla, or I don't know who else, you would still get some people. I think even if you went with like a Morgan Wallen and like a Shabuzi or a Kane Brown,
Mm-hmm.
or even a you know what? I would say if you went with like a Shabuzi and a Jelly Roll and Post Malone,
Yeah.
everyone would actually be happy, because you remember Post Malone's a rapper.
Yeah.
Jelly Roll started as a rapper,
Right.
and every rapper now has a Jellystone. Jelly Roll has every major artist he loved growing up and wanted to rap with
Yeah.
as a feature on his album.
Yeah.
So there is that crossover, but then you also have to look at it when you look at the 90s bands, and it's hard to say for some people, but like when you look at Linkin Park, Limp Bizkit, I would say Good Charlotte, a lot of these guys that are these alternative 2000s bands,
Mm-hmm.
the other people that don't like Bad Bunny aren't going to like them because they have the same message,
I agree.
right? There's the dudes from Boston, Dropkick Murphy. They have their message, right? Like, so
Yeah.
when you look at it, no matter what, someone's going to say something.
Right.
So it's really who you're going to please. But when you're looking at it on a global level, and I think this is what the NFL is looking at.
Exactly.
Because we just
That's
had
what I was
the
going to
first
combat.
game.
Yeah.
We had the first game in Ireland on Sunday.
Yeah.
Shot the Steelers with the W. I almost had a heart attack because because the Vikings came back right towards the end.
Yeah.
But then this week coming up, we have the England game. So they're in London. This
yeah.
week, the London games, and then we had the first game of the season was in Brazil.
Yeah. And I think you're right though, because Roger Goodell, he is trying to push the NFL internationally, and if you do have an international star, Bad Bunny will get more people to draw in to watch it.
Well, this is the thing, right? You have pretty much all of South America would tune in to watch it.
Yep.
All of the Caribbean would tune in to watch it. You have Europe, you have Asia, you have Africa. I think people fail to realize that although he's a Latin artist, a reggaeton artist, a Latin artist, his music is worldwide. Like he's crossed boundaries more than he's the biggest artist in the world. So
yeah, he's the male version of Taylor Swift. Let's be honest. Like he really is with the biggest following that he sees her numbers.
I think people just don't like him because he has a political message, but I mean, who doesn't, right? At the same time, he's progressive. He's for the people. He's for the kids. He's for the youth. But at the end of the day, right, when you're looking at that, he's global. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. When you're looking at ratings, yeah, you're going to have X amount of people in the US watching and X amount of people in Canada watching. But if you're getting those ad dollars from across the pond, all the way from the UK, all the way to Asia, Africa, South Asia, like, yo, you're making money.
Right. Let's quote it right now. Are you taking the over or under bet with viewers on this? Kendrick Lamar had 135 million viewers. You taking the over or the under on viewers for Bad Bunny?
Over? 100%. 100%.
Are you doing
100%?
Are you doing a 50% increase or 100% or beyond 100% increase?
I would say it's going to be 150.
150% increase.
No. Kendrick had 134 million.
Yeah, so his double would be 266 million.
No, I don't think it would be double. I think it would be like 150, 160 million.
All right, we'll quote
I
that.
would
We'll
say
write
it's
that down.
over Kendrick by at least 30 million.
All right, I think you're right. I think it's going to be higher personally, but I think he'll break the 200 million views.
It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
I'm straight up. It's gonna be nuts. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be. The thing is too, I think what people, the football fans that disagree with this, is that when it comes to music, people just watch the Super Bowl for the snacks and for the halftime show.
Yeah.
There's
Or you're a
millions
Chiefs
of
fan
times
or
you
an
go to-
Eagles fan, one of the two. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Nobody cares. Nobody cares at that point.
I've been to so many Super Bowls parties where
Yeah.
people come to our house or whatever, and they don't care about the game.
No.
What'd you make?
Yeah, exactly.
What'd you make? And then okay, who's on? Like let's get ready for halftime. Like you
Right,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Or people show up at halftime.
They really
and then they
do.
bounce.
I agree.
They show up
Yeah.
at the beginning, get some snacks. After halftime, they're out.
Eat some wings and be out. Especially your
Yeah,
house.
so
We know
if you're-
we know the wings are be popping in your spot. So
yours too. So
yeah.
one cool note before we wrap the whole G Funk era talk up is we talked about it last time. Was that Warren has his own line of barbecue sauces and Rub Sniffing Griffin's barbecue, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys didn't know, what's in the pot on social media, and Anthony's Smoking No Joke Barbecue. We're both, I guess, grill masters, if you want to say.
Yeah.
Anthony's a steak master. But yeah, so definitely it's kind of cool to see someone from where we grew up as DJs and, you know, being a huge fan of Warren.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're seeing him as someone with barbecue sauces.
Yeah. I'd love to get him on either one of these shows. Just to talk to him because, man, like so much inspiration for both of us music wise all the way growing up, and then here we are having our own cookouts bumping to G-Funk. And
Warren, if you're listening to this, we would like some products to use.
Yes, exactly.
I think I messaged them on Instagram. No one ever messaged me back.
No, they're tough.
I think I might have to just get some and then just start tagging the shit out of them. Be like,
Yeah.
yo, let's do something.
Let's do something. Let's collab. Yeah, let's do something. But yeah. But speaking of a little bit of controversy, our next album, you want to announce that one, what we're going to be reviewing next on our next show?
The next album
Yeah.
is The Score by the Fugees, one of the greatest rap groups.
Yes.
Arguably, everyone says Lauryn Hill is one of the greatest female rappers of all time.
Yeah.
But I would say The Score till 1993. It's called
The Fugees?
Yeah. What's The Score? No, it's just The Score.
Yeah, The Score. Correct.
Yeah, it's just The Score. But we'll be reviewing The Score.
Yeah, the reason why I say it's controversial one is Miss Lauryn Hill. She's had some recent drama. We'll talk about that and all that. But the thing is the heat on this track. You got Wyclef there, you know, like, and that how do I say this? She outperforms them on this album, even though it's the whole group in general. But geez, like Lauryn Hill just outperforms everybody.
The biggest track from that album is majority of Lauryn Hill track, which is Killing Me Softly.
Right.
Production wise, Wyclef shows why he's a master.
Yeah, and Praz,
Jerry Wonder, the whole crew of everyone that has their input into this album,
right,
is absolutely amazing. So one of my favorite albums growing up, and it just reminds me of high school, grade 9, I think it was grade 10. That's like, you know, I think at our age where I don't know dates and times, like I can't tell you certain things, but I can tell you what album and what song came out that time, and then my memories of that. So if you know, if I'm like, yeah, I remember I did this, and you know, this song came out, then if it was 95, that's when it was.
Yep,
You know, your
exactly.
mind works in a different way, especially as you get older. Not that I'm old, but you know what I mean. Like I think as a DJ, I think we remember things when it comes to certain time frames, especially when we're looking at it in that sense.
Right now, I'm just looking at the lineup, man. This is gonna be awesome. I can't wait to review this one.
Yeah, I'm definitely
Yeah,
gonna probably jump into it tomorrow. I'll probably
yeah.
give it a double listen because I haven't listened to the album cover to cover
It's
in a
been a minute
long
for me
time.
as well. It has been.
Yeah.
So cool, man.
All right. Thank you very much for tuning in. Don't forget to follow us on social media at the Album Society POD on Instagram and TikTok. And also, we're on your favorite podcast platform Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, of course, Spotify, where we're hosting our show on, and YouTube. So hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, leave a review. Let us know how you're enjoying the podcast. If you have any suggestions or mentions of what albums you'd like us to review next. Because maybe we'll put a poll up on our social media on give us a couple of albums and maybe we will jump into them eventually.
Yep, I'm so
We'll put
down.
them in our magic wheel.
All
So
right,
we'll
man.
definitely get into that. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in. Till next time, remember we try to drop new episodes every 2 weeks ish. So look out for the next episode in about 2 weeks, or you'll probably be hearing this a week after we record it, and then vice versa. But yeah, so if you're hearing it, then Bad Bunny's a Super Bowl performer.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
go.
Peace.